Hey everybody, I'm so excited for 2024 and I'm excited to get back behind the camera to make some videos to make your teaching easier, more enjoyable. Hey, so over the Christmas break I read a book and it's an older book. It's been on my shelf for a while, but it's Atomic Habits. And I really did enjoy the book. And I thought maybe I could share with you some of the key material in it and see how it applies to you and how it can make your teaching experience that much more rewardable. So let's talk about some teaching. So Atomic Habits is a book. It was written in 2018 by James Clear, and it's really just about how to maximize habits and how to make, we're habitual creatures. God designed us to have habits and create patterns and see things like that. And so how do we use that for the benefit of increasing productivity in life and enjoyment of life? And the book claims this, is that if you can make 1% increases on a daily basis, that at the end of a year you can actually increase, however you measure this, but you can increase productivity and effectiveness by almost 40%. Just by being focused and being intentional about creating some good habits and breaking some bad ones. And so James Clear wrote this book to meet that need. And so Atomic Habits is not about explosive like atomic bomb, but it's about atomic as in minuscule little changes in what we do, how we do them, to make great impact in our lives. And so let me just share with you one key factor of the book, and it's kind of what the book is around. It's the 4 laws of creating a good habit. And so the 4 laws basically go like this: make it obvious. That's law number 1. Law number 2 is make it attractive. Law number 3 is make it easy. And law number 4 is make it satisfying. So those things, and this is not rocket science, right? We could almost have answered that ourselves if we just give it a little bit of thought. But with the way the author puts it all together, kind of makes things fresh and go, oh, yeah. So if you want to create a good habit, those are the 4 things that you can focus on. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. So let's break that down to you, and let's choose a topic. I don't know, say studying your lesson for teaching on Sunday. How about that? That seems like a pretty relatable exercise. So let's think about creating a good habit using these 4 laws from Atomic Habits about how to create the good habit of studying your lesson before the Saturday of your class, so the Saturday night before you teach. So when we're talking about making it obvious, what that means is make it clear. So the idea is what will cue you to take action? What do you see, hear, look at? What's your environment like that cues you that it's time to study, right? So the first thing that we could suggest would be maybe something like put it in your planner and say, I am going to study my lesson at this time, at this day, and make it obvious in your planner and say, this is what I'm going to do at this time. So it's clear when you look at it in your planner on your daily schedule, whether you're taking some time at work or at home, and say, this is when I'm going to study the lesson. Make a time, pick a time and pick a place. Those are some key things. So you're making it obvious that way. The other thing is you can create your environment. So let's say you want to prepare the table, and so the night before or the morning before when you're getting ready to go to work or whatever, and you want to study after work, then set your lesson down on a table or on your desk before you leave for work, and set it down and maybe put a pen and paper there. So right when you come home from work, guess what's at the table? It's your lesson, and you're ready for it. And when you come home, you see it, it's obvious to you, okay, there it is. And those are just some visual cues. You can do other things. If you study at work, then maybe you could put your lesson down on your desk before you leave. So the next day you come in the morning and you go ahead and you just see it right there. So the idea is just to make it obvious somehow. The other thing is to make it attractive. And this is one of the things that's interesting about the book. It mentions rewards, right? But the idea of making it attractive is a reward beforehand. We are actually anticipatory thinkers and cravers, which means oftentimes, and if you go to any grocery store or a restaurant, you know that they know this, is that it's often anticipating something is actually the greater reward. Your dopamine levels will increase faster and more anticipating a reward than actually getting the reward itself. So and just think about some of the things in your life, and you think, oh yeah, that makes sense. So what can you do to make it attractive? One thing I'm thinking of, you could say, if you're a coffee drinker like I am, or you have a favorite drink, your power morning juice or whatever you do, healthy wise, whatever. Say, I'm only going to drink this when I study the lesson. So when I'm studying the lesson, this is the only time I can have this drink. And so when you are thinking about studying your lesson beforehand, you're thinking about the drink as well. You're thinking about, oh, I'm going to have this special cup of coffee, and you're anticipating this reward, and so you're saying, okay, I'm going to do this. It's also called temptation bundling. You could, if you're a multitasker, my kids are multitaskers, and so say I can only listen to this music or this album. Did I just date myself? So you could do something like that. So just the idea is making it attractive in some way. Another crucial thing about making it attractive is get involved with other people that live that lifestyle too. And so the attraction is the lifestyle. So it's really not about, the idea is this, and maybe I should also have explained this. It's not about saying I want to study my material more. What I want you to do is think I am a teacher, right? So the goal is to study your material before you teach it, but days before you teach it, not the night before. That's the goal, and you're creating a system to do that. But really, what you really want to do is change how you think about yourself and say, I am a teacher, and teachers do this, right? And so get around other teachers. Talk to other teachers in the Sunday school department next to you. Instead of just going right to your class and setting it up, go next door and talk to them and ask them about how their classes are going. What do they enjoy? What are they doing? Start building the community. We placed your classroom in hallways, right? And so most of you have some kind of neighbor somewhere close by. Take some time and talk to them and ask them about their class and their teaching experience. So get in the community of teachers, and guess what? All of a sudden you're starting to think like a teacher. And so that's a crucial point right there. So making it attractive. Another law is, so we've covered two: make it easy, or make it obvious, make it attractive. Now we're going to talk about making it easy. So making it easy means just taking away as many steps as possible, right? So we've talked about one, it's kind of making it, make it obvious is also making it easy. If you have it set out, then you've already taken the time and taken out the steps of having to find your curriculum or your book or your notes. And so you've taken out that step. You've already done that ahead of time. And so now you just have to sit down and open up your notebook and start writing. So anything you can do to take out some of those steps of whatever it is you do, think about how you prepare and say, what steps can I do ahead of time so that when I need to study, I have it all handy right away. The book is talks a lot about how we tend to also we are craving rewards and we anticipate cravings and stuff, but we're also procrastinators. And so the idea is think, do. So as soon as you think it, act on it. There's a lot of science about how when you look at people who are great runners or great or whatever they do, you notice one habit they have is when they don't hesitate in doing something, whatever it is on their workflow. If they have to study, then they think it's time to study. Well, I'm going to do this first. I'm going to do this first. I'm going to do this first. I mean, I did that just today. I wanted to sit down and do something. and go over and summarize some of my daily plans, what I needed to do. And all of a sudden I found myself doing a ton of other tasks. And I'm like, okay, I guess, so that makes sense. So what you're doing is think it. When you think it, do it. Don't hesitate. Also, the idea of making a habit. If you're starting a new habit, um, don't make grand plans. So like if you're gonna sit down and say I want to create the habit to study my lesson, then say this: I'm only going to study for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Because sometimes you're in the habit of, you've gotten a bad habit of taking your notes and you study, and it's like 2 hours in and you're still studying. Your family's looking at you like, where are you at, and everything. And so, that takes away a lot of those things, and you start creating these bad habits and a bad feeling about studying. So just say to yourself, I'm just going to study for 15 minutes. That's all I'm going to do. This is going to sound weird because I got all these books behind me. Say, I'm just going to open up this one reference book and just read this reference book for my notes, or I'm going to read this one. And then as you start getting into the habit, maybe what you'll find yourself doing is saying, okay, now I've got 2 books, or I'm going to study for 25 minutes. But just keep it short. Don't try to don't start the bad habit of making it super long. All right. So another thing is automating habits. What can you do to automate it? Well, one thing is, why have a book? If you want a digital copy, there's a digital copy of about anything. So those of you who are teaching from a book, get the digital copy of the book, so it's always with you. If you are with a curriculum from Lifeway, from the church, we can give you a digital copy of your leader guide. If you have if you're a lesson planner and lesson creator yourself, then take your notes with you. Get a notebook, or even better, have your notes on a digital tablet, and you can digitize that and have it all ready to go. So no matter where you're at, if you're on a plane, you can study your notes. If you are in a cafeteria, you can open up your notes anywhere. So automate it. Lastly, and this will be it right here, is to make it satisfying. And this is where the reward comes in. And so, but the reward often is the action. And so when you are thinking about the reward, making it rewarding, making it satisfying, think about your class. Think about when those times you're teaching your class and you feel good about what you're teaching, and say, you know what, when I study well, then my class goes better. There's more laughter because I'm not trying to think of words and study or stammering for help me out here, right? So, but if you know what you're doing, if you know your study, you know your material really well, then you're flowing. you are. It comes easy to you, and when it's easy to you, it's easy for your class to respond and join in with you. And so, lastly, and I'll end with this: that when things do get hard, here's the best thing to do: realize what your calling is. Go back to your calling. There was a time when you said, I want to teach a class. I feel like God is teaching me class. Go back to that calling and say, God, reawaken that calling for me, so that when things get hard, and maybe picture your class, picture a certain person in your class who might really need the lesson that you're looking at. So reward yourself in those ways, in ways that are not, we could say, after you're done, treat yourself to whatever. Well, you've done a lot of that already, but really the reward is relationship. You're able to communicate God's word to people. They're able to soak it in, to drink it in, to consume it because of what you've done to make it easy to consume. That's the reward. So this is probably a little longer video than other videos will be, but I wanted to share with you this little treat that comes from a book called Atomic Habits. If you want to learn more about it, if you want to get it yourself, let me know. I'll order it for you. It's not a Christian book, but there are some Christian principles in it. Not the intention of the author, but when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I can see some things, especially when it comes to changing, not just making it a goal or your system of how you're going to do it, but you want to change your identity. You want to change what you think about yourself. It's not about saying I'm a good Bible studier or a good lesson studier, or I have a good plan of how to make a good Bible study. It's I am a teacher, right? So that's the goal. I love you and can't wait to see you this Sunday. It's going to be fantastic. And here we go, 2024. On your marks, get set, go.